We'll call to order the meeting of April 20th, Board of Finance meeting for April the 27th, 2015. The first item on the agenda would be the Gloria to a regular position on the board for this evening.
I'll make a motion to put Gloria on as a voting member.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Public participation. That's what I was looking for. There was no. Okay. Next matter, number 3, the approval of the minutes of March 23rd, 2015. Are there any? Please.
Make a motion to approve the meeting minutes as presented.
Second. Question? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The correspondence, the quarterly reports for the Board of Ed and General Government. It's not a reporting month, but I see Mr. Morel is here and everybody else is here, but we don't have any business. I spoke to Mr. Hull last week and he said he would not be here. Finance Director's report.
In lieu of that, I put in the latest report that we had.
I know.
I passed out to everybody the CCM Public Policy and Advocacy State Budget Update, and if everything goes according to plan, this looks very good. Our ECS money didn't go down, it stayed the same as last year. Everything is the same. Basically, we're up 1% over all last year's budget. So LoSAP funds are up there, not to worry. I hope Bill Hall got the same copy that I got, but it's a breath of fresh air. Hopefully we stayed the same and they voted in as presented. So they're going to vote on this today, the Appropriations Committee, but it may last. Call Dan and say it will last until who knows what wee hours in the morning. But as an indication, it's a good sign for us. And this is the way they do it. Appropriation Committee proposal, state budget impact on Putnam. So this is geared to just us. That's why this is very important. Doug, did you want to add something to?
It's the same, basically it's the same revenue that we had for the governor's budget, so we're
So we didn't cut anything.
Yeah, right.
Now we know
The only thing is we're up a little bit on adult ed. So.
Yahoo.
Hey, every bit helps.
Every little bit helps. The other thing on the finance director report along those lines is that Paula has been working with our auditing firm to do reconciliations and get caught up in terms of making sure all the money goes into the right accounts and gets a portion to the right accounts. So that's in progress, and they're making great progress in that regard. So hopefully we'll be in good shape in terms of moving forward in terms of both last year's audit and going forward in terms of this year.
Anything else as to the Finance Director's report? No? Okay, Town Administrator's project update report.
That's you, Doug.
That's you, Doug.
Do they have it? Do they have any questions? I have nothing new to add to that.
It's in our packet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but this was, isn't this last time?
Yes.
We don't have, this is, the one we have in here is dated March 23rd.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Yeah, just going in down at the selectmen meeting.
In regard to the tech park, the Tully Construction, they had restarted work and they've made great progress in terms of they're putting in things to be able to put the bridge abutments in. They're actually working in the water now. They put in an H-frame so they can, once the steel comes in, they'll be able to work in terms of extending the steel across the steel beams that get across the river. Gerber Construction, they have the notice of award. This contract has been signed, and they will be, we're going to have a pre-construction meeting later this week, and after the pre-construction meeting, they'll be given the notice to proceed to work on the West Road with Utilities Construction. The sewer lift station bid will be going out the first week in May, which is next week. The bids for the Betas Contract 2 were opened. We ran into a little problem with the bids as they came in on Contract 2. They're basically would put us over the appropriation that we had for the water line project. So on the recommendation of our consulting engineer, there will be a letter that will be going out to all the firms, basically stating that we reject all bids, and we'll start the rebidding process with a modified scope of project scope. And in terms of our two priority projects, one would be the water line installation to the school. Because the gas company apparently cannot put the gas in this construction season, they'll do it in 2016. We were flexible in terms of putting the water lines up in the area of the school on Vandale Street and Milton Street, but because we don't want to rip up the streets twice, we'll hold off on doing the water project until next year, at the same time the gas system. And I guess the committee is going to have to do with temporary propane or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
They're saying the hot water.
hot water.
Yeah, that's why they just have the heat with the propane.
And I still have not gotten a contract from the gas, Yankee Gas, former Yankee Gas, to put in the gas line, the extension of the gas line from Arch Street down to the Tech Park. So I'll be working with them this week to see where that contract stands, because that's all is holding it up in terms of getting the gas extended to the Tech Park. Anything new here on all these other projects? I told you about the water line replacement and relining project. Manganese, nothing has changed on the manganese. We're still waiting for USDA to sign off on the request for proposals from the two engineering design firms, construction design firms for the manganese treatment building, and that's basically it. And we do have a groundbreaking next Wednesday, the 6th, 10 o'clock.
You send that out?
Not yet.
Not yet.
What is being groundbroken?
Both the project is going to be, sort of a retroactive bridge and the road construction and the lift station. So we'll combine all in one type of groundbreaking, and we'll have refreshments.
And one thing I might add to Doug's report is the big question was it going to cost us any more for this gas line? Originally, Yankee Gas was talking 130 to 170,000. Although they can't do it this year because we're going to do it next year in conjunction with the WPCA, it won't cost us any more money. The only differential will be is heating the school this winter on propane versus natural gas, but the installation won't cost any more money, which is a huge savings because our contingency is
Dwindling.
dwindling. Yeah. So.
All right. Nothing else, Douglas?
That's it,
Thank you.
unless you have any questions.
Daphne? Unfinished business? Okay. Move on to final review of the fiscal year 2015-16 town budget and its referral to town meeting. Need to vote on it and need to review any additions or deletions that you would like to make to the budget. Would be a good time to do so. Let you know that at the town meeting, people can come and can by vote reduce or but only reduce anything on the budget. So, any thoughts you have as to the budget? At the budget meeting a couple of weeks ago, what was it, 2 weeks ago?
Last week.
Last week, right, last week, yeah, well, yeah, you get older, can't remember things. That, the only ask for money change in there was by, I can't remember the individual, it was somewhere in Heritage Road, I remember where he lived.
Harlan Chisholm.
Chisholm. And he wanted to add a couple of $1,000 to the library budget for
Non-print books.
non-print books or something. That was the only individual at the meeting that wanted to add anything. So, I mean, are there anything else in the budget, Doug, that needs to be added, or in your opinion, what needs to be done here, or that's it? I'm waiting for the hand signals to go back here.
I have my instructions for the Board of Selectmen, and there's nothing new.
No, okay. That's fine. So,
My non-instructions.
any thoughts here with regards to the budget itself? I got a copy of,
We were talking, or it was mentioned at the meeting last week to reduce the amount of the surplus that we are going to use or something, right?
300 to 200. Was in there.
okay, what,
I think that was on the basis if we were going to see a shift in the appropriation from the state to, give us a little breathing space. If the state budget was going to show a decline in revenue to the municipalities.
at the moment, I don't believe, I mean, if we look at what came in this
Right.
afternoon, but that's not the final word by a long shot.
Usually
Well,
appropriation.
but it isn't, and, we can hope, and all those good things, but that's not the final word on it.
Where do we stand with regard to what we have in terms of percent? Where do we stand with regard to where the budget is right now?
You mean
Percentage.
on the surplus and
Yeah.
maintaining
Yeah.
a healthy
Our
reserve?
healthy, which is
for-
50%, not
For
50,
GFA.
50.
Okay. The latest audit had us at $3.8 million in terms of our general fund balance, which is basically your reserve, undesignated. So the recommendation of GFOA, our auditors, is that you maintain at least a 15% margin of that. I'm sorry, of your budget. Your budget. So that would give you basically $3.2 million as to hold for safekeeping. And then so that gives you 600,000. And if you take the 300,000 to reduce the burden on the mill rate, that gives you just a remaining of 300,000.
So you're under.
Yeah.
You're under. So if things don't go as we expect in the budget meeting, which we don't really know, we're guessing now, because those meetings go all night, and sometimes things get chopped off and not. And I just think it would be a prudent time to make that adjustment right now, or something of it. If you don't want to take 100, what would get us there, 50?
Mayor?
Mr. Chairman, the Board of Selectmen voted on and presented the budget that you have in front of you. The 100,000, 50,000 were just discussionary.
Yep.
So the official vote is, the budget you have in front of you is the budget that the Board of Selectmen want you to present to the people. It's up to you to either accept it or not.
You understand, Mr. Mayor, you understand my question?
I do, but I think you guys are groping for straws. We received this afternoon, and right now, we're okay, we're status quo. If, as I said at the meeting, if the governor and the legislature chops a whole bunch out, then we go back and we redo the budget, that's all. But as far as I'm concerned, it's fine as is. And that's the budget we're talking to, that's the budget we gave to the press, that's the budget we gave to the, Doug Cutler, and that's the budget we gave to the Board of Selectmen, the Board of Finance. So you do it your way, but I'm just telling you, the vote was to give it to you as presented.
We think that's the way we should do it.
Any addition, I can't say additions or deletions, but I suppose I can say that.
Okay, but can somebody, I know Doug just left, but does that bring us down below our 15%?
No,
No.
no, it doesn't. You're still above by 3 point, I think it's 3.5 that puts you at versus a 3.2.
The recommendation is between 12 and 15%. Of all the towns, we're in very good fiscal shape.
I was always under the impression, Tony, that it was 15. I mean, I know it said 12 to
12 to
15.
15.
At the end,
At the end?
Yeah.
Okay, we're not making any changes?
yeah, well, that's where we're at right now.
Okay.
There are no changes in any of the comments or.
Make a motion now? No?
Yeah, sure.
All right, I'll make a motion that we appropriate the final review of the fiscal year 2015, 2016 town of budget, town of Putnam budget, and refer it to a town meeting.
All those in favor?
Need a second.
Is it second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
So it goes to the town meeting on the 22nd?
13th.
13th.
Of May.
13th of May. Okay.
He voted no, though.
You voted no?
Yeah, but make sure you.
I'm sorry, I thought it was unanimous.
No, he
I
said,
voted no.
well, you asked for a no vote, and he said,
Aye.
Yeah.
nay, all
But
right.
I have him as saying no.
Oh, you got it? Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. The next matter is consider and act upon the following line item transfer in order to purchase a new phone system. What is that about?
Can we answer? Excuse me. In this current budget, I had 24,000 in capital non-recurring for a phone system, and Connor had suggested that we reduce that by half. It's now up to $24,222. We've brought in the Nutmeg network so that we can use the high-speed internet that the school has. It's all over fiber. And we can realize over $12,000 in cost savings in our phone line alone if we have phones that can use the voice over IP technology. The phones we have now, they can't do it. And we've got phones that are being used for parts, and the quality isn't that good as far as what you hear. You hear a lot of static, a lot of, depending on which phone you're on.
So, what is it we're looking for? The line item transfer from where to what?
It's in the memo.
It says, the following transfers, there are 7 of them. Everybody have that?
Yeah.
So they're all on the same page. Does anybody, without going through the 7 of them, does anybody have a question or consideration as to any of these 7 items?
What is, how much does that add up to?
Was I?
How much are we transferring?
8,000.
8860?
Yeah, 8,160.
It's no part of this.
Yes, sir.
All those in,
I need a motion.
here. Have a motion for that? To
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
second? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry, Bob, you
Opposed?
made the motion, you seconded? Oh, thanks.
Grand list report. Who's the grand list person today? No? Not you, Nancy.
Randy wanted me to include that for your information, if you have any questions.
How about the transfer of taxes to the suspense list?
That would be me.
That would be you.
That would be me.
You have some comments on, as to it, Miss?
No, well, this is just our,
Excuse me, one
sorry.
minute. Are we supposed to approve the grand list report? No? Okay, thank you, sorry.
That's all right. End of year procedure, you come before the Board of Finance in order to have an approval of the presented suspense list. This year, we're asking to move from active to suspense, about $6,400 in
How much is that?
taxes. 6,400.
64.
Yeah, you've got the list, it's like 6380 and change. Last year, we asked for 8,900, so it's a little less than it was last year. We collected about $1,200 in suspense taxes, both tax and interest in this fiscal year. So it's just common procedure for us to close out the books. And we're just looking for the Board of Finance to give its approval. The accounts that are on the list have gone through all of our collection practices. Final step would be Marshall, and they've come back, either moved out of the state temporarily, or they do not have assets to collect. These particular bills do not fall off our list. Again, they are just put into a suspense mode so that when the treasurer starts looking at our active accounts to see what she feels is, is an asset, these particular bills will be not considered as part of the active list of taxes. They're still collectible for 15 years, but they just will, they're just considered to be less likely to be collected than your average tax bill. So we're just looking for an approval of that list so that we can put them on suspense list and give that suspense list over to the auditors for our final end of year closure.
Have a motion to do that?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor, somebody saying aye?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to be down better than last year.
Oh, well.
Every little bit helps.
That's right.
Every
We
little
try
bit.
not to put too many accounts on every
Every
year.
little bit helps. All other business to lawfully come before such meeting?
Mr. Chairman, the only thing that I would like to add is, I think the Economic Development Trust Fund was supposed to be on the agenda. I talked with Doug before the meeting, and he mentioned that it would be under all other business. Not sure. I know you all got an email regarding this this request of $200,000 to be put from the general government budget into the Economic Development Trust Fund for the purpose of 3 projects. One would be to for assistance in marketing Tech Park. One would be for the wayfinding signage, and the other would be to put in a well at the farmer's market. I know there's been some discussion recently about how much reserve would be in the account. Some people thought $200,000 was a little much. Again, the ordinance reads that anything under $5,000, any expenditure under $5,000 has to be approved by the Economic Development Commission. Anything over $5,000 has to be approved by both the Economic Development Commission, the Board of Selectmen, and the Board of Finance. So that is the checks and balances. It's not necessarily a pass-through account, meaning that if you want to spend $20,000, you put $20,000 in, and then you just extrapolate it. It is, by the spirit of the ordinance, to support economic development. So, that's my plea.
Anything in writing?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Every time we get to this fund, we never have anything in writing.
There was an agenda item that went to the Board of Selectmen, and I was told that it didn't need to go. It could be the same one that went on to the Board of Finance.
Well, didn't make it. Who is on the, you're the face of, but who's on the board?
Let's see, we have Paul Grenier, Dave Brotsman, Paul Pecora, John Dignam. Let's see who else. I'm trying to go around the table. That's all I can think of right now.
Well, you work for them.
I'm sorry?
You work for them.
Absolutely. Well, actually, I was told I work for the mayor.
Well, that's certainly a good question. Who do you work for?
I've always been told since I've been hired, I work for the mayor.
So, what do these other folks do?
They approve projects, they approve expenditures, they
Do they
approve
ever
our
come to-
bills.
I have never, in many years, ever seen anybody other than your face, which is the face of, to begin with, ever come to any of these meetings. Nobody ever shows up.
They are
Nobody-
invited, trust
Huh?
me, they
They
are
don't come
invited.
though, they've never come.
Yeah.
Well, they never come, you know, they never come to the meeting. I mean, the only person to ask questions or pick on or whatever it is you want is yourself, and that's unfair. And nobody comes to these meetings. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars, as if it's, and it's not, you know, they're the ones that are, and they act, I mean, I don't know how they act or they don't act, but it's like, you know, penny change. You know, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. We don't have to send anything. I mean, I don't know if I should be directing that to you or to your boss, who seems to have an incredulous look on his face that he seems to suggest that perhaps he didn't view his role that way.
Well, I think they're volunteer board and commission like any volunteer and board and commission. And they have a passion for what goes on. And again, it's the same representatives for both the Economic Development Commission, and also we have a separate redevelopment agency that also has its own charge based on bylaws.
Do they have meetings?
Yes, we have once a month meetings, we have special meetings, and there is a Board of Selectmen report every month, and we do minutes, just like all the other boards and commissions do. Yep. We make motions, and actually, this is the first time that we haven't expended anything out of the Economic Development Trust Fund, because other than the gravel that I think Doug had put in there, we have never had any money put in there. So
How
there's
much money
nothing-
is in the Economic Development Fund?
I checked with Doug, and I think from the gravel operations, it's about 40,000.
So you have $40,000 in the pot. I don't mean to put it that way, but
That's bad.
whatever it is. I remember when the treasurer was here, and I remember, this is some time ago now, it's not like last week or last month, and she was going through the books, and we're trying to figure out, she was trying to, has your book's been audited by anyone?
My books.
Well, where the money is, because she was suggesting that there was money floating around that hadn't been accounted for years.
All my accounts are accounted for by the state and the town auditors. Any of our grant funding that we have for redevelopment agency, CDBG grant funding, it is audited by both the town and the state. And trust me, you don't want to go through a state audit. Yes, we have double whammies on all of our accounts. Absolutely. And again, the Economic Development Trust Fund, I have had no control over that at this point. Doug has put the money in from the gravel accounts that was per, I think, the Board of Finance. It's the only people I could imagine who would put it in there. So this is my first request.
I don't have any remembrance of that, but anyway.
This is my first request
The
based,
gravel money.
Yeah.
Well, how, okay, so up to this point, you haven't had to take any money, obviously, out of the account.
that's correct.
So if you have to take money out of that account, how do you do that?
I have to put, if it's under $5,000, as I said, I have to go to before the Economic Development Commission and request that fund. Anything over 5,000 comes to the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance. Right, so we have not done anything out of that account yet. my commission has not done anything out of that account yet.
No.
This is the first request that I am asking, based on the ordinance to support and foster economic development.
And the $200,000,
Yes,
where is that coming from?
that is from the sale of lot 19-1, which was it was $223,000 after closing cost, real estate, I think it's $198,000 in there. We sold lot 5-1 for $53,000, that went into the general fund. And I have another potential sale of lot 9 that we have just approved the price on for $40,000. And any sale of lots in the past have always just gone into the general fund. The reason that the ordinance was designed was, like many communities use it for, is to reinvest it back in economic development. We know through the assessor's report that economic development is the one of the highest sectors of bringing the tax base into the community, because residential is down so much. So that's basically what I'm trying to do.
I don't know, I feel that without something, I want a proposal, I want to, and we went over this before when we took 6 months to ever get any information to set up the fund. And I don't know if it's not being conveyed to the board members properly or what, but if they came to our meeting, they would know how we feel. That we want a little more detail, written detail. When I stood up in front of the town meeting last week, if somebody asked a question, asked me afterwards, why'd you vote this way or why'd you vote that way? I need some backup on that.
Okay, I can send you a letter requesting $200,000, and I can put the prices of what we're asking. Again, remember, it's not a pass-through account. It is a holding account for economic
Well,
development.
let me ask a question, with that. So, when you do whatever you're going to do, you're talking $198,000 on one, 50-some-odd thousand on the second one, and I forgot how the third one is. So we're talking about more than $200,000.
$250,000.
$250,000.
Correct.
So we
Once
went-
this last one sold.
Well,
Yes.
how much would the last one be?
$40,000.
$40,000. So how much is that altogether?
198, 53.
Almost 300.
So when we started the conversation about 5 minutes ago, we're at 200,000, now we're at 300,000.
No, the request was for 200,000. And there's the gravel money that's in there. And I don't know, the question was asked while you were gone, how it gets in there.
The town meeting appropriates that into the Economic Development Trust Fund. And in case of the gravel, it was specifically earmarked for improvements to the technology park.
It was, for what?
The town meeting, first of all, appropriated for the use of the funds that were received from the gravel into the Economic Development Trust Fund, specifically for the purposes to be used for improvements to the tech park.
Okay, so that's 40,000 you got in there right now, right?
Right.
Right. And you've used none of that?
I haven't used it.
No, huh?
But how can you use it?
Because of the tech park, I'm sort of,
For the tech?
Well, I'm missing something.
No, I'm
Something here. She's shrugging her shoulders. So,
No, I mean, that was
What's going on?
That was appropriated by town meeting, but no one has spent that funding yet.
no.
Okay, well, I understood
So,
that from
yes.
Delphi.
So who
But
has-
we put that money in there, and even if it doesn't still have to be approved by her board before you can spend it.
No, the town meeting already approved it.
approved it? That they have the 40,000?
No,
It's in a trust fund.
it's in a trust fund.
It's in the
It's
trust.
separate. It's not under my budget.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
separate trust fund.
Okay, so the 40,000 that you guys, that the 40,000 you're talking about?
There's approximately 40,000 in gravel.
Approximately.
More or less?
More or less.
Yes.
It's a complicated thing. We had to
Well, we're
take-
not, I know we're simple, but,
No, all I'm saying is that there are certain things that were, when we transferred that property from Wheelabrator to the YMCA, and in order to clear up the Newths thing to that, we said, any proceeds from the sale of gravel or the sale of land, we had to split basically 50-50. So when the gravel came in, technically I have to split that 50-50 with Wheelabrator. However, we also, up to $20,000, we were able to use proceeds from that gravel to pay for the archaeological survey that had to be done on the site. So that's all, part of the equation in terms of how much money we'll actually receive from the gravel.
so we don't know.
We don't know. But if we did get up to 50,000, that would be allowed by the town meeting.
That's a heck of a way of doing business, though.
So, well, clear it up for me, what would you be able to spend that money on, the 40,000?
The bridge construction, the road construction, and utilities.
So that 40,000 could go to that,
Yep.
and not necessarily the marketing of the
No,
pipe pump?
it's specifically for construction.
Oh, specifically for construction.
You have it
First
broken
40.
down as to where it's going to be spent.
Well, I have $7 million
Well, this is only
appropriation. where I know,
40,000, but
No,
where this
40,000
40,000 is going to be spent.
will probably be spent on the construction of the roadway, which is a $900,000 ticket item.
So right now, the Economic Development Commission doesn't have anything.
Right.
Well, I have to agree with what Joe just said. In the last 3, maybe 4 years, when we've gone through the budget, and we've seen people try to cut your budget to the bone, okay, for whatever reasons, your commission is silent and is lacking participating in the discussion. Now, if this $200,000 was that important to them, it'd be like the firemen who all showed up at my WPCA meeting about a month ago. They wanted their fire hydrants cleaned. There was all 5 of them sitting in the back there, all right? It was hard for me to say, oh, no, we're not going to do it. Couldn't do that. I mean, your commission's got to take more of an active role in participating in this process, other than just attending meetings. That's why I agree with Joe. I never see these guys.
The thing with it, too, is, whether the money goes from the general fund, which is where it is now, I guess,
Right.
or goes into your fund, honestly, what difference does it make? The general fund is the full faith and credit of the town of Putnam. The money that's there is backed by some serious money in other things. Why does it all have to go to this fund to begin with? Why does it all have, why does the 200,000 and whatever other money is, whatever that number is?
I don't think it has to.
Well, why does it all have to go in one fell swoop?
Well, I think the reason that you would set up an economic development trust fund is that those funds, if it was determined that you wanted to earmark funds specifically for that purpose, then they would be earmarked and they would go in the economic development trust
Why
fund.
do we want to do that?
Because then, in case you run into lean times and you want to market the tech park, the economic development.
How many lots are in the tech park?
5.
What do you think the price per lot is?
4. I'm sorry, 4.
What do you think the license?
We're having appraisals done now.
Take a guess.
200 per lot.
200. So 4 times 2 is 8, and this is $1 million, right?
Right. But we have to share
I
that
mean,
money.
don't you think
We have
that
to
you
share
should
that
have
money.
something on a piece of paper of what I'm going to do with $1 million?
Well,
Just put
I
as
know what some of it has to be done with it. We have to share that.
I'm talking about $1 million. Well, I
You have to share
understand that,
some with the
but
other community.
it's
Yeah, share with Wheelabrator.
it's $1 million, and I know we have to pay. What is it? Pomfret? and we have to pay Brooklyn.
Brooklyn,
and-
Scotland.
What?
Scotland.
And Scotland.
And we have to share it with Wilbraham.
Well, whatever it is, whatever that number is, don't you think it's unreasonable for Board of Finance to ask for something on a piece of paper?
I'm not asking for that money to be set aside.
Well, okay. So, but we know that that's coming down the road. I mean, you sell one of those lots tomorrow for 200,000, whatever it is. I don't care what the number is. That's 400,000. And economic development is going to need $400,000 in its budget. Why can't we leave it in the general fund and allocate, instead of $200,000, an amount less than that to that amount?
You can allocate anything less than that even to the Economic Development Trust Fund. To pull it out of the general fund, anybody could access out of the general fund for any project. And the Economic Development Trust Fund was not set up solely for the technology park.
Right.
It's other uses also. One, again, I mentioned a well at the farmer's market and also.
But how much can the well at the
wayfinding.
farmer's market cost? Be under 10?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
I mean,
And then there's the wayfinding project that, because many times we go get, we get all these plans and these studies put together, but we never implement them
But-
because there's never any funding.
But-
And that's one of the reasons this trust
but-
fund was set up.
I think the number that you talked about with regards to the wayfinding project was certainly under 50 anyway.
Well, it depends on where you want,
Well,
how much you want to do on it. You can spend up to 200,000 on it, absolutely, for the
where would you
wayfinding.
put $200,000 in signs in Putnam?
Well, it's gateways, it's not just signage. It's redoing some of the things that we have. It's directional signs, it's welcoming signs. I mean, we have a whole plan for
Where would
that.
you put $200,000 in welcoming signs in Putnam?
Well, it's not just welcoming signs.
I don't know.
These signs cost some up to, $2,000 to $3,000. Some of them are, maybe you do. That's why we're changing them all on the highway. They don't meet anybody's codes. Yeah.
Yeah, but the
Well,
state's paying for it, and the federal
One of the other
government
things,
pays
it's
for the
not
first
just
part,
signs, in some
according to the
cases,
radio.
it's the ability to also do some beautification at some of our gateways. So it's
But
not
don't-
only the signs, but what
don't-
would be
don't you
incorporated.
think, Douglas?
Huh?
I mean, just for suggestion, I'm playing,
No, I understand.
I mean, that the suggestion being from other members on here that something should be sent to us in writing, and as to where it's going and what it's going and what this and that it's actually sent. I mean, that money can sit there, it's not going anywhere. I guess the town of Putnam, if I had a treasurer to ask, I assume town, I'll ask the mayor, I mean, town's good for it,
We're good for it.
good for it. I don't, I mean,
As Alpha's boss, I'm director to send a letter with explanation of signage, X amount of dollars, beautification, X amount of dollars.
well, but,
Advertising, so, really, I
Well-
agree with you.
well,
Well, at least if, it just, when it comes to me like this, I mean, yes, I'd like to see, and I was the first one to say, I would like to see it written down. Do I care where you're spending every dollar? Maybe not. But,
Well, again,
But-
sorry.
it doesn't give me, then this conversation comes in that we've put money in there for the tech part, but somebody else other than economic development can take it out for the tech park. So it starts to get like, I wish I had known about it and I could have pulled my records back out or asked Denise to give me a copy of what the heck we agreed to on this whole fund. I mean, and I'd like to, because myself, I'd want to review now who has control of the account and,
Once the money goes into it.
yeah, who can take it out.
Did I include a copy of the, I didn't get you a copy of the ordinance?
I don't have, I voted for the ordinance.
I did.
Yeah, but I would just like to,
I don't know.
I would like to review it now before I put in more
But
money.
the question is not the ordinance. I don't have, in my opinion, I don't have a problem with the ordinance. I have trouble with when we talk about, on one hand, we talk about monies in the general fund. We talk about 1%, well, 1/10% that we're going to get maybe tonight, and what have you, which basically we're going to break even. We talked about, conversations we have about maybe $7,000 to the ambulance and what have you. We talk about other monies that are there. All of this is real money. It's not, it's real money that we have to take it out of the general fund. If we need bonding and things along those lines, I don't know what the numbers are. Certainly Doug does, or certainly Mr. Pempek, or somebody. I don't know what those numbers are. I mean, I'm not going to do that at the moment here. I don't have a problem allocating X number of dollars to put in that fund to have. I mean, I'm not interested in getting 3 bids on that well. I'm not going to do it damn like 2 times, whatever. Whoever's going to drill the well, I don't know. I don't know how it's going to get set up, and I'm not going to do it. I have no idea what some of these other things cost. But I'd like to have an idea, and I don't have a problem X number of bucks for it, but just to put it there for the sake of putting it there, I don't know how it stops economic development from pursuing whatever it's pursuing. I mean, they need the money. They still have to, if it's over 5, under 5, they have their own way of doing it. If it's over 5, they have to come to the Board of Finance, basically to the selectmen, then to the Board of Finance. So you get the ultimate say on it anyway, but you don't have the use of it once it's gone. Okay.
Looks like a plan, Joe.
Sounds like a plan. I don't know. Anyway. Do we need to do anything on this at all, or just let it go? Let it go. Okay.
Are you on the agenda for the next meeting?
No,
Nothing?
at the moment she isn't, but we'll put her on.
Other business.
Other business, young man.
Doug stole my thunder on May 6th, as he said before, having groundbreaking at the Tech Park. Rain date's May 7th. Denise arranged refreshments, coffee, just regular coffee, no decaf. Cowboy coffee up there. Pastries and donuts.
What do you wear for shoes?
Huh?
Boots.
What boots? On May 16th, Ride the Rails with Abe Lincoln.
Who?
Ride the Rails with Abe Lincoln. It is put on by the Lincoln Forum of Eastern Connecticut, and the Norwich Heritage Trust presents a visit of Lincoln with Howard Bright as and a troubadour while traveling along the scenic Shattucket and Quinnebog rivers from Norwich to Putnam and back. Hear Lincoln's farewell speech in Putnam, and in Norwich see Lincoln's meeting with Grace, whoever. They're going to reenact it. Tickets are not cheap, Joe. You want to take your wife, $50, $65, or $75, and that gets you nothing but a seat.
Is that the memorial given the end of the Civil War was this month?
No, it's his farewell speech, that's all it says. I don't know what the hell.
When was that?
Who knows? But anyhow, it's going to come to Putnam. It's going to be in this town square. I invited all the selectmen, I invited the Board of Finance, and anybody else. I talked to the high school, so we get some kids there, especially to the social studies department. It'll be a good, like a field trip for them. The guy is very good.
Is the train coming in draped?
I have no idea. He's alive. He's alive. And we have Mr. Rainey Marion playing a little.
That is a good part of this.
Yes. So there you have it. So you know that's some good things happening, but that's all I have to report. I will send Adelpha.
What is that date? What's that date?
May 16th. It's a Saturday. 10 o'clock.
What time's that groundbreaking on the 7th?
10 o'clock. We like that 10
It's
o'clock.
the 6th.
It's
On the 6th. Rain date the 7th. Groundbreaking.
And where is
At the Tech Park. You'll see a tent up there. Go follow the tent.
How do you get there?
Over the bridge.
Be done by then?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
You go over the existing bridge, take a left, and just keep going. You'll see us.
Don't go too far, you'll be in the Ashland.
Right, we'll be there. So things are really happening. If you get a chance, go over that bridge and see the work they're doing on the new bridge. Those guys are working 1040. And I didn't realize this, but none of the pipes and stuff aren't gonna be in the river.
No.
They're gonna be on both ends, so it's gonna expand. I guess that's what the fish, they do what the fish do behind rocks. So.
Is that like in a cloistered
Yeah,
environment?
yeah. Bob Garcia will be there fishing. So that's all I have to report.
Solar panels sound pretty good.
The solar farm, again, we worked a deal, we signed a letter with Solar City. It's gonna save the town between $7 and $8 million over 20 years. We get to pick, the Board of Finance, the Board of Selectmen get to pick what buildings we can put these, who's gonna get the power. If we don't like it, we can change it for next year. If we don't like it then, we can change it again, but we will get the power.
And it includes the Board of Ed.
We're banking on the board.
We're banking on the Board of Ed.
And I still don't know why the Board of Ed didn't put solar panels on the roof.
Let me ask you a question with that, Mr. Cutler. You also, as the engineer for this whole stuff, it generates the power.
I'm not a trainer.
Well, you know,
Oh, sorry.
but you know what you're talking about. I never questioned that. That you go down, you know, they have, say the panels are all there today and what have you. That power is sent into the general line.
Right.
It doesn't.
It goes into the grid.
I know when they talk about the lights in downtown Putnam, it doesn't, there's not a extension cord
No.
they're going to, no. Okay.
So we just get the credit for the electricity we put into it, and we get a beneficial rate because we're a municipality,
Wonderful,
or the WPCA, or the schools.
wonderful.
And it's guaranteed for 20 years.
When is that going to kick off?
The solar panel?
Yeah.
I'm working with Solar City. Solar City is the selected firm. I'm working with.
Where are they from?
I forget, was it,
They're all over
New Jersey?
they're all over the world.
I forget the company I'm dealing with.
But when does that kick off?
Probably as soon as the spring. I'm sorry, the reason that the town's not doing it on our own, there's expenses involved.
Oh, I'm okay with that. When are they going to kick off?
Well, as soon as they get all the engineering and the permitting, we have an existing permit to operate the landfill as a closed landfill. So to ensure that we're not doing anything in opposition to DEP, and when we went to DEP, there were 5 bureaus that had to be satisfied. So this way, the Solar City takes on that responsibility and we're out of it. So I don't know how long that process is going to take. Probably
6 to 8 months.
6 to 8 months.
And we have no liability. They pay for the panels, they pay for the construction, they pay for the security, they pay for any liabilities. So we're off the hook. Or we will sit there like fat cats and get the tax credits and light up the school and light up the.
And the other thing,
Will we drawing power by the end of the year?
well, then you have the construction. Once the permitting is done, then you have to
I'll
do
go
the
pretty
construction.
16.
So I would think next year, a year probably.
All right, good. Very
And
good.
the other thing, we could also assign the companies, any company that comes into the tech park, we can assign that low cost to their electricity needs. So not only would it be municipal buildings, but we could also assign that to companies coming into the tech park as a.
There are some
incentive.
homes up in East Putnam that could use those.
They're going in on May 21st, Joe.
Okay, thank you.
Also, Willie Buskett and Jerry Brolsland, there's toolers, they're going down, I think it's Fort Dix or some fort in New Jersey. And, you know, instead of Humvees and all kind of things and helicopters, we're getting porta johns. You know, you have.
Government porta johns?
Yes! You have that one thing, these are gonna be 6.
Can't beat
Set
a
to
seat,
6.
can't beat a federal seat.
That's right. So it'd be good for all like the car cruises, you know, several thousand people here.
Well, who's going to take care of them?
It's recreational.
Who's going to pump them?
We have a contract.
Are they going to take care of those?
Yes.
Yes, I don't know. I'm
Instead of doing
asking.
6 individual, you just hook the thing, takes care of all 6, one shot.
Son of a gun.
I'm just trying to give you some good news after all that, you know, bad news.
The other thing for the Armory, now came to the Board of Selectmen, Northeast Opportunities for Wellness, with 3 other organizations, the Putnam Little League, WPTP, which is the football program, and the cheerleaders?
Cheerleader, yes.
Cheerleaders. So they've,
And
I
Nikon.
believe that
Nikon
they've
soccer.
gotten proposals in from 2 architects, and they're in the process now of deciding which architect to select.
They're due the 30th.
30th.
Yeah, so we'll have three.
So what are they planning on doing generally?
Well, generally, it will be at headquarters for now, and these 3 other organizations.
You know, as you look at the Armory, when you're in it, when you walk in, obviously you've got some offices which kind of go on the outside of the building. You've got some massive laboratories, and then you've got a gym. what's going, what's staying?
The offices will stay, so each one of the partner organizations will get an office. The rec department will also have an office down there as well. Town of Putnam Rec Department will have an office there as well. And then we're going to refurbish the gymnasium, as well as there's.
Are you actually going to do it?
Yeah,
so that-
exactly, correct. The idea is we're going to rip up that floor and put down a composite floor.
Yeah.
So it actually serves more as a gym, activity center gymnasium, as well as there'll be a meeting room in there for people to hold meetings and that, and then they're going to keep a working kitchen in there, so they can teach.
Is there a
healthy-
kitchen in
healthy
there now?
kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Is there-
Yeah. So they'll teach them healthy cooking and stuff like that for the parents and stuff of underprivileged kids as well.
Good stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
We can do the firing range.
That's all cleaned up, to be honest with
Is
you.
it all cleaned up?
Yeah, it's all cleaned up, all the lead's taken out, and it's been all rehabbed. More than likely, they'll just reclaim that area for other locker room office or something.
Thank you.
And then there's-
That's in the options.
Then there's one other item dealing with Saban Street property, the 30-plus acres we have on Saban Street, which is right on the town line. There's a proposal that 3 firms bid on to provide engineering services to basically take the gravel off that and to bring it down to a level where we could put playing fields on it. And the proposal will be is that we'll use the proceeds from that gravel to pay for that project. And so that will come to you in the future.
Another question, when I was listening to the radio, that talking about the Facilities Commission, or whatever it's called. Is it called commission? Is that-
Committee.
And they were talking about, or it was reported, of 2 places. One was the Owen Tar Field, and another place. Where's the other place?
At the end of the parking lot, this shopping center's parking lot down at the end.
Yeah, when they go right on your office.
That narrow strip?
Where the old motor vehicle is,
Yeah.
in that area.
That's where I work,
Yeah,
the old motor vehicle.
Well, that's what it was.
they're gonna have a joint meeting with the Board of Selectmen, and, but that particular spot, the town owns land to the right of it
Yeah.
and to the left, but not where the proposed building would be going. So that would be a negotiated deal with, if it was decided.
But that isn't, I mean, anyway, that's where it is, that's where the
Yeah, that's
question
where it
is.
is.
That answer there.
And it's not all of Owenville Park, from what I understand from Nick Longo and Alan Rossin. It'll be like half and half, so there'll be green space there as well, which is good.
But you go by there on Sunday, there must have been an army in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of-
The neat thing is the
Different people.
proposals for a 1.5 or 2-story, so it actually is taking up 1/3 of the park, and then the other remainder would be
You
green
talking
space.
going by the Historical Society?
Yeah, over
That side, yeah.
on that side, so,
We need a buffer for Mr. Perry.
yeah.
Don't even go there.
25-foot fence,
Mr. Perry.
or we go to court again.